Lloyd Phillips here, host of the Life and Times podcast. Thanks for listening this week. You know, there's some good stuff. We all know that I took a couple weeks off there at Christmas. We got back last week. Now we're back into it, so I'm excited. I got somebody I'm bringing on. You know, my friend is a state champion wrestler. And for anybody right now is like, you're an adult. I'm like, yeah, he's 6. My little homie Hudson. We're not interviewing him this week. It'll be next week, but, you know, we tell a story. I'm all fired up about it. And then what's up with Levi's jeans and why do they force you to show your true size? I don't know. Let's just get to it. Love everybody. Here we go. Welcome back to the Lifetimes podcast. I'm your host, Lloyd Phillips. It's good to be back once again. You know, I'm excited to be here. Today, probably got some interesting stories, probably about Levi jeans. I'm not going to know the history of it. I'm just going to make some statements here. But right before this thing started, Leighton, who's here, he's not on the show today, but he's here in the background. Here in the what do we call these? Leighton Industry Studios. So anyway, that's where we're at. And he said, I don't know if this podcast is going to look good because your face is greasy. Now, I don't want to like get into hygiene. I take baths every day. I've recently got into people don't even want to hear this. I've recently got into the Duke soaps. Have you heard of the Duke soaps? Sell them at all your local specialty stores. They even got them, because I'm from Locust Grove originally, everybody said, I know there's a lot of people from Locust Grove that listen. They haven't got them down there at the Country Cottage. You can find Duke soaps right in there, the front door. Fine soaps. But I've been using that. I don't know if it doesn't make my face greasy. It's just like a skin problem. Is it a skin problem I mean, some people have dry scalp and dry skin. I don't have any of that. So, you know, I've surpassed that. Is there shampoos for greasy hair problems? I don't know. He said maybe Gold Bond. I don't get it. Anyway, I think my face will be just fine for the video. That's what I think. The other day I was at the mall in Pittsburgh. I went looking for some fine shoes. For anybody, if you don't know, like, here's my personal style. Yeah, because everybody's like, oh, you're a fan. It's like I'm tooting my own horn. I don't even have a horn to toot here. I'm just saying that I'll wear nice shoes and people think they're like, oh, you dress nice. I don't even really dress nice. Like, I actually don't. I buy fancy shoes. I buy fancy looking pants. And the top is usually some kind of pullover. It's not a fashion show, people, but like, I'm not fancy. I just accessorize. And that may sound a little nerdy, but I'm going somewhere with this. So I'm walking through the mall in Pittsburgh, and I'm looking for some jeans. I don't even own jeans. I'm about to buy some jeans, not Jinkos. I don't want Jinkos. Those are big. I don't know if there's any former Jinko wearers out there, but right now you're embarrassed to think about. Yeah, I used to wear Jinkos. That's if you don't know what that is. Jinkos is like where they take 5 pairs of jeans and sew them all together and make 1 pair of pants. You know, and the legs flare out like a wingsuit. Anyway, so I'm looking for jeans. People seem to be wearing jeans these days. I figure it's a trend I'm about to get in. But I walk around the mall. I don't see anything. And then I pass, not at the same store, but I pass some Levi's in my jean search. And I realize one thing. Levi's, I mean, nobody says Levi's are these high fashion anything. You know, they're not like high fashion jeans, but they're not bad jeans. They've been around forever. Like, they're probably the best jean company if we're just being real. They've been around since the beginning of time. But one thing Levi's does, it makes you be confident about yourself when you wear them. Because, you know, let's say somebody like me who's just like, I'm a little chubby. And, you know, I'll just throw it out there. It's not like you're not going to hurt my feelings. I can't get my feelings hurt or depressed by me telling you I wear size 38 pants. That's what I wear. But, you know, you would know that also if I bought Levi's jeans, because they make you be bold. Like, if you try to wear, like, if you got Spanx on or whatever to try to hold in your upper half. Well, I'm not a Spanx wearer, but, you know, like, if you're trying to hold in your upper half and you got Levi's on, you're like, I can clearly see you're a 38-30. Don't fall down, you'll roll a Salina. You know, like, don't. I mean, it's not. I mean, Levi's jeans forces you to be bold. Yeah, you got to have a lot of self-confidence if you're going to wear those. And I think I probably wore. Actually, I know I did. I don't remember wearing 501s, but whatever it was, I used to be an active jeans wearer around high school, early high school, middle school. And I'd be looking for like the 503s or the whatever's the boot cut. Do you guys remember when boot cut was the thing? Like you're like, oh, I got to get these boot cut because I got Doc Martens on and I needed to flare it on my boots. But I don't want it to go too deep like Jinkos because I want you to see the yellow ribbon around the rubber part of the sole. Now that's a thing. I've noticed this. Now, when I'm a kid, you don't notice how fashion. This is not a fashion episode, but you ever notice like fashion repeats itself? It does. It repeats itself. The ridiculous trends repeats itself. And I'm not trying to make fun of one of my children who thinks she's into fashion, but she bought some pants today. I don't know they look like bell bottoms. They're just big. They look like hammer pants with a bell bottom flare. I don't know is that a thing? I don't even know if that's a thing. That's not a thing to me. So anyway, it all comes full circle. But what I'm saying for me, as I've noticed in my lifetime, if you just want to look normal, I'm not saying she doesn't look normal, but if you just want to look normal, if you just want to be like normal, down the middle, regular person through time, just buy the old classic fit anything. It doesn't. You're not necessarily in style, but you're not out of style ever. That's my thing. Yeah, skinny jeans are out though. On my quest for jeans, I didn't look for skinny jeans. It's not really my style. I bought these outdoor pants the other day, and they're real skinny, and people like, "Hey man, where'd you get your skinny pants?" I'm like, "They're not skinny pants. I think they're for rock climbers." But once again, I just gave you my measurements, so I'm okay to say it out loud. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't really. They might have been rock climbing pants, but. I mean, do they really make 3830 rock climbing pants? Like, who climbs rocks that wears 3830 pants? Nobody. I can almost guarantee it. I'm sure there's a 3038 rock climber, but not reverse. When you do the reverse, I'm going to be honest. I could probably eat less carbs, but I was carb loading for this next rock climb. That's the only reason I ballooned up. I'll probably get it back normal here in the upcoming future. Sorry for the interruption, everybody. Sorry for interrupting the show. I was just going to tell you, hey, I need you to know that people say, where'd you get that lavish beard? And I say, well, the lavish beard I grew because I'm a lavish beard grower. But the reason it's so silky smooth is because I use Winchester Ranch Beard Co. products. Top oils on the market. I've been using them for years or last year because it just started. But that's why my face looks so good. Tell your friends and use that. Okay? Talk to you later. Forgot one. American Survival Co. Everybody, American Survival Co. They're the top survival school in the entire world. I know everything for my survival needs, that's why I use American Survival Co. Go check out their website at americansurvivalco.com. Get all the details and information about team building exercises and all the things that you can do. It's really an awesome place. And the two guys who own the place, they're also the host of the new Netflix show, Snowflake Mountain. And that's awesome. Go check them out. Now back to the show. Love you. So here's the thing. There's an interview that I want to do. I got a little buddy. We're best friends. He says I'm his best friend. We're best friends. His name's Hudson. Well, Hudson, and I'm gonna let him tell the story. Hudson won the state championship in wrestling. I gotta be honest, 6 years old. He's 6 or 7. I think he's 6. And he won state in his weight class, 55, 52, whatever it was. I've known this kid for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, somewhere in that range. And he's just a real intense kid. I've brought him up before on this show. And if I haven't, the most vivid memory I have, I got lots of memories of him, but the most vivid one, we're at a soccer game. My daughters are playing. There's 4 or 5 little kids. They're all together. This is like a movie scene. And I'm setting it up because I'm going to ask him about it. I'm going to interview this kid next week. And for anybody that's like, oh, it's a 6-year-old. No, man, you don't get it. He's real intense. He's a very intense kid. He's not going to attempt to make you laugh, but you're going to laugh because of how intense he is. He's a avid hornet finder and fighter. He fights hornets. So we're watching a soccer game. It's just like a movie. I wish I had it recorded, even though it was like sheer terror for the little kids. I hear one little kid screaming, running out of the woods. So I turn around and glance, and I see, what the kid is screaming about. About 20 yards behind him, another kid runs out of the woods screaming and crying. So a couple parents start turning around. I see a third kid about 20 yards behind the second one, running out of the woods, screaming and crying. I'm not making this up. About 20 yards behind him, the fourth kid runs out of the woods, screaming and crying. Now all the parents are not even watching the game anymore. They're staring at the kids like, what's going on? What's going on in the woods? Like, we have no idea. And they're perfectly spaced out, and they're all running towards the soccer field, screaming. And I don't know if you remember Tommy Boy. I believe it's Tommy Boy, where the cops pull him over and he's like, follow my lead, and he starts yelling bees and swiping himself, but it's at nighttime. That's what they were doing when they were running. So when the parents are running up to them, they're knocking bees. Now they're knocking hornets. They're knocking hornets off all the little kids like it's in a movie. And it's just sheer panic. Like the kids in the soccer field, they're just playing soccer. They don't have any idea. Our entire sideline of parents is watching the fiasco shake out right behind us. And they're all screaming. So they can't talk. And then finally when they do, obviously it's the hornets. They're not like, what happened? And so the four kids, like kids do, you go off in the woods, especially that age. They're all like 5, 6 years old, 4 to 6. And they see these, it's a hornet's nest, a large one. So it's a ground level nest here. And so they see them all swarming. And one of the kids had a great idea that he would run up and kick it. Well, and that's what caused the whole fiasco. The point, I just give you this story. We're going to catch it live, and I'm going to hear him talk about a state championship. We're real excited to have Hudson next week. I think this should be a good time. I just wanted to throw that out there because next week you're like, hey, why is this 6-year-old kid? Because he's real intense, and it's going to be awesome. So, look, if anybody actually knows the backstory of I've said it before, why I have a podcast. Maybe I don't actually know if that's why I said it. Maybe I should let the world know. Here's why this podcast even exists. I used to do stand-up comedy shows. I liked it. I loved it, but I got busy with real work and I couldn't do it. And the actual reason it went down is because I was supposed to be on 2 different shows that I had to cancel because there was an emergency, and it happened. It wasn't back-to-back weeks, but it was really close together. So I decided to not do stand-up comedy shows anymore. If anybody doesn't know, like I used to do those things. So I had to cancel doing stand-up comedy before I basically got banned from comedy clubs for having a reputation of not showing up. But it was like for professional reasons, so I chose just to do that. Well, the reason I started this podcast is because I still wanted to have some kind of comedy outlet, and kind of what I was thinking. Didn't work this way, by the way. But when people came where I was at, I was like, I still got the show. Maybe he's funny. Yeah, let's put him up, because I have existing friends that travel around the country and they do these shows. And so I thought like it was going to be maybe I could get on and still do shows. Doesn't really work like that. You actually have to get on stage to practice if you don't know how that goes. But that was my hope. Well, somebody just called and asked if I would do a comedy show in Beaumont, Texas, Sour Lake, Texas. And I said, well, I actually haven't said yes yet, but I think I'm going to. I'm just telling you that because I don't think I'm going to be very good. Like if you don't do stand-up comedy shows, like there's timing. People don't know that. Like there's like a whole timing thing. And the reason that you even do open mics is to practice. And if you'd say something that's not funny, look, this is not even a funny part of the show. I'm going to educate you on something that you may not know unless you're a stand-up comedian. But you don't do open mics because you're terrible. Everybody does open mics. The greatest comedians in the world do open mics. but that's how you test your material. So you start out, if you write jokes, I always told stories, so it was a little different, but basically you write out this premise and then you go to an open mic and then you say it with no feeling or emotion, just see what kind of reaction you get. And if somebody laughs, you're like, okay, that may work. I'm just shorthanding this, but like, oh, that may work. So the next week or the next day, depending on how many open mics you have in your area, then you get back up and you're like, you reword something and then you say, I'm going to do it with a little emotion. And then you get more of a reaction and people are going to laugh, it's going to work, 2, 3, 4 down the line, whatever it is, you like, here it is. And you really ham it up. And then it's like show ready, it's going to work. You've done it 5 times. You laugh every time. You feel good about it. And that's it. That's how it works. Well, I haven't done that. As excited as I am to go do this show, like I'm nervous about it because I don't want to bomb. And I bombed one time ever. And I was at the Laugh Factory in Cleveland, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was the only time I ever bombed, and I was pretty excited to go there. It was like Steve Harvey's like home area back in the day, and I was like, oh man, I love Steve Harvey, so I said. I was really excited to do it. And I don't remember the guy's name, Dave or Dan. It used to be some kind of MTV VJ, and he was the headliner that day. And so I got up there and I thought I was gonna kill it. But the host was a local radio host show there around radio host show. Did I say that wrong? Radio show host around the Cleveland area. And I didn't know the guy. We've never had this talk, but he started doing not my material like he stole it. Like, I'm not saying that's what he said, but the guy who hosted the show did a quick 5 minutes or something. In that 5 minutes, I felt like 60% of what was about to come out of my mouth, and I was next. He said. So I immediately panic, and it's not good. Well, I get on stage. Here's how you know it's bad. At that point, I'd never bombed, which is also how you know I wasn't a very good comedian, because you're like, well, if you've never bombed, you must have been really good. I was really good at making people laugh when I was on stage. The reason I was a terrible comedian is because when you bomb like that, and it's the only time it had ever happened, I didn't know how to pull out. I didn't know how to recover because I've never had that happen. Like, it was bad. I could hear the air conditioner. Like listen, it's not anything terrible I can't say out loud, but I always say this is a family show, people. So I'm not going to give you the joke. I'm just saying that I said whatever I said, and then I walked to the end, and there was 2 people sitting at the tables that were like right on the stage. And I referenced a couple of them, and I could hear the air conditioner in the building. Like, it was silence. I could just hear the air conditioning fan, and I thought, oh, man. And so I tried to switch gears, couldn't do it, terrible. I'm walking off stage, a couple people were like, good job. Good job. I could hear the air conditioner. It was terrible. It sucked. And the headliner, this is what he said to me. He's like, hey, man, the stuff that you would do in Houston, you can't do it in Cleveland. That's what he told me. That's what he told me. Well, guess what? Going back to Beaumont. So if they laugh there, I guess Texas is more my speed. I guess that's how it's going to go. But we'll see. I haven't set anything up. But it's like I said, if you don't get on stage, you don't know timing. There's just jokes. I don't even have jokes. I just tell stories. I don't write stories. I just tell stories. So it should be a interesting gig. Hopefully I don't bomb, and you never know. I do have an opportunity to do that. I'm hosting some kind of foundation dinner. I'm emceeing this foundation dinner next week. And, actually, you're hearing it this week. On Saturday is this thing. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping for the best, but, whatever. If it doesn't work, I'm cheap entertainment. They got their money's worth. This past weekend, I went to a county sheriff graduation. That's what I thought. So I got a buddy. He was in law enforcement training. It's his dream in life, not to be a reserve, but just to be in law enforcement. So he's 21 years old, and that's what he went to do. You know, and he'll get in the game and he'll make somebody, because even though he's a reserve, he's 21 years old. So like normally if you're a reserve, you're like, yeah, I'll work a weekend. I'll work at nighttime. I'm pretty sure my buddy, he's going to roll every day and just love it for free. I just think that's how he's going to do it. But so I go to his graduation, and I'm very excited for him, because it was like, it's his dream, you know, to I think he wants to be a highway patrolman, whatever. It's his dream. So it's in this place called Talala. It's if you've ever heard of, well, a lot of people not from here. Right outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's a small town called Oologah. There's a suburb of Oologah, which is not really a suburb. It's another tiny town like 4 miles away from that called Talala. So the county sheriff graduation is in Talala. I'm confused. I know the backstory now, and I'm not going to get into it. It's not that interesting. But for whatever, I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to go to Talala, which is weird because the sheriff's office is in, you know, the county seat of Claremore, America. I think there's 5 people, because my friend only posts 5 people. And I'm like, yeah, because my daughter played basketball this weekend, and I think I'm going to catch her last game. I'm going to go see my friend graduate. I mean, it's 5 people. How long can it take? And I pull up at the church here. I think it was the First Baptist Church in Talala, Oklahoma, America. I think every person that lived in a 4-county radius is in this church at Talala. And I'm very confused, because I'm like, first of all, who would drive this far away from for a graduation? Who would drive 28 miles away to watch 5 people graduate? There's plenty of people who would watch 5 people graduate. Why is there 500 cars at this graduation? I'm tossed. So I'm walking up, and I think like, man, this is like a serious deal. So I see my friend standing outside, which was lucky, because I got him a little gift. And I said, here you go, man. Jake, congratulations, what I said. And I'm like, Jacob, did you bring your entire family's family? Like, how many people are graduating? Because he only showed a picture on Facebook of 5 people, which, by the way, quit lying and tell the truth, Jacob. There wasn't 5 of you. There were like 29 people that graduated in this class. But you don't see, he messed with my time management, because by looking at Facebook, he led me to believe I'm just going to roll up and I'll probably be sitting with a family. It's going to be like 8 of us in seats or whatever. There's going to be 60 people total. No, there was politicians there, Congress people there, the sheriffs around the area. I don't know. I said 29. There were 20 people, but I thought there was 5 or 6. So I'll just tell you the story. I'm not making fun of it. I'm actually really proud of him for graduating. But you get in there, and there's a program. My grandma calls them programs. So I look at the program, not the program. I look at the program, and it showed who all was there. And I'm like, and I look at the graduating class, and instantly I'm like, I guess I'm not going to be making this game in 1 hour. So they start talking. I mean, there are 73 guest speakers. It's hot. I got there 10 minutes early, and I'm in the balcony, and I got a suit top on. It's burning up. I got a blazer. That's why it's hot, because it was a blazer. Anyway, and when the guy sings the national anthem, I'm not mad at the guy that can sing the national anthem. He actually sang it really good. I'm just going to add that the guy singing the national anthem at this event, I know he's probably sang this thing before, which is why he was probably there, but he sang this thing like he was at the Super Bowl, and this was big time. Now, in his defense, I felt like everybody in 19 counties was in this place, but I felt like he's like, this is my time to shine. He's like, these people are going to see me for what I am. The place, even though there was a lot of people there, it wasn't that big of a place. He didn't even need a microphone. He sang like Whitney Houston sang the national anthem, and doing, I don't know all the singing terms. It's not a thing I've specialized in my life, but he did all the octaves and the ups and downs. Can I even give it a little sample of what he did? Be like, it's like, Oh, say, can you see? No, that sounds normal. That sounds normal. Well, whether you thought it was good or not, that was normal. He was just doing big runs that I can't even recreate. And so the whole time, yes, I thought it was awesome. But in my head, I'm like, this guy's a real intense singer. That's what I thought. It's like a lot of intensity brought. And I was proud of him. I thought Elton John was, well, not Elton John because he had a cowboy hat on, but whoever is a cowboy singer, country singer that does runs, that's who I was just watching. That was an unbelievable deal. It's the best local live anthem I've laid eyes on in quite some time. No offense, Jordan. So there was that. And after it was over, I don't know, man. It took 3 hours. The program was 3 hours. The program. It was probably 2, but it was hot. So, when you're hot, it feels like it was longer. And then I drove back, missed my daughter's basketball games, which didn't matter. I think they lost by 45, something like that. Got a lot of really working on the fundamentals here recently. So that's how my weekend went, by the way. Here's the latest in football news, everybody. You're like, you're really digging now. Yeah, I am. I got to get up at 3:30, guys. I'm just letting you know. So, the Eagles, I guess they were good all year, but they're Philadelphia. And even if you don't like football, it's fine. I'll also get through this part. Philadelphia, they're good, but I just didn't feel like they're better than any team in the AFC, the other league. For those of you that don't know, the Buffalo Bills league, the one I thought Bills were going to win the championship. I still think that Super Bowl winner is going to come out of the Bills side. I can speak football terms. I'm trying to speak to people that don't understand it. I think the champion is going to come out of the same side of the bracket that Buffalo Bills are in. But yeah, so now it's the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's the Eagles. And that game just ended, so the Chiefs won, and they're going, and they're all excited. There's this guy named Patrick Mahomes, and he is the quarterback for the Chefs. And I don't know if you know who the Chefs are. If you don't, I believe it was a Snickers commercial, and it was supposed to say the Chiefs, and the guy painted the Chefs. That's the backstory on me calling them the Chefs. So Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback. This guy, when he wears his helmet, it's like it looks like he has Peyton Manning's forehead on when he puts the helmet on. The helmet sticks up like 18 inches above the top of his head, like a cone head. The old 70s cone heads. Not like my daughter. My daughter. Hold up. If you just run with that on the surface, you're like, well, that's rude. No, her head's normal now. But when my daughter was born, one of them, I'm not going to single them out, but I know I've told this before on the podcast. I wasn't ready for this. Whatever. It doesn't matter. When my oldest daughter was born, this is the first time that I know what kids look like when they come out of the canal there. And so, you're excited that you have a kid and you love them instantly. But I just remember when she was laying there, her head was longer than her body. So I immediately thought like this, oh no, got it. I mean, her head was about 28 inches long, I felt like. And so they put a sock cap on. And they're like, oh, yeah, this sock cap, don't worry about that cone head. This sock cap will suck it down about 26 inches. And now, like, in my head, I don't know how putting a sock cap on is going to – you're going to have to smush her head all the way back because it's real stretched out. Now, as it turns out, I don't know this, right? I'm not experienced in this field. But as it turns out, I guess the skull is not – that don't make any sense. The skull's got to be formed because when they're kids and you rub their head, they got a skull. You can feel it. But however, it got stretched out. It was like real big. I realize I'm rambling here, but have you experienced this? I mean, did you guys get nervous? I've never seen heads that big. I don't know what – it's like an Egyptian head. You know those old Egyptian statues where their heads are real tall? I thought I made an Egyptian is what I thought. And I didn't know – how. I just knew they were going to be of some royalty because those are the only Egyptian skulls I see that got big heads. But turns out it all worked out. Her head's normal size now. And, oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that's what happened to Patrick Mahomes when he puts his helmet on. I've almost lost my place there. You guys, anybody who knows me, I'll ramble a little. I'll forget where I'm at. That's where I was going. I think Patrick Mahomes' head is, he's got, his helmet is built for Egyptian heads. And when he takes it off, he looks normal. But when he puts it on, it's real Peyton Manning. I don't know what else to tell you. So for those of you that couldn't follow this episode, thanks for listening. I was a little all over the place. I got to be honest. There were some things I wanted to discuss, and I had an agenda, and I got a little sidetracked with other things. So next week's going to happen. Remember, Hudson, the state champion, best friend, he's going to be on here, and we're all excited. Thanks for listening. You guys have the best week, and put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Let's go, Pete. Let's go, Pete. Put Pete in the Hall of Fame. Come on, Peter Rose. Why didn't he go by Peter Rose? He should have went by Peter Rose. Put Peter Rose in the Hall of Fame, everybody. If he changed his name to Peter Rose, what if that was like, they're like, hey, let's forgive the guy. He goes by Peter now. He's obviously grown up. So let's put Peter Rose in the Hall of Fame.